Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joines, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. As always, my partner in crime, Mr. Tate Mathews, is here. Tate, week 2 of football in the books. I think you'd mentioned last week the biggest improvement takes place from week 1 to 2. And I think our teams are starting to show their true identities. The weaknesses and strengths on offense and defense are becoming more apparent after week 2.
Yeah, it needs to be because this is region week for most of
time.
Most of our WCS teams. It's time, baby. If you don't know what your weaknesses are right now and your strengths, you're probably in trouble going into week 3. So, and we got a lot of strengths. Lots of strengths.
Can't
wait to talk about them.
Better week in the non-WCS matchups in week 2.
For sure.
Biggest improvement between week 1 and 2.
That's what they say.
Hey, before we get into football, let's talk a little volleyball first. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Nolensville with a big sweep over Father Ryan. Also a win over Ensworth. Those are 2 pretty good wins for a lot of different reasons. Coach Young and his young ladies, I'm predicting another state championship this year. And I know we're not that August
going out on a line. No, it's still tough to do. One, you got to make it through here, but that's great for a lot of reasons. One of those is a great win. The other one, not so much. Yeah, I know. I'm just
for lots of different reasons.
Throwing a lot of shade, but Father Ryan wins a good win. They think they've got it figured out over there, and Coach Young said, "Okay, we'll show you what some volleyball is all about." Ensworth, I didn't even know they had a team. I'm surprised Palpatine even lets them have a team. But anyways, big win over Father Ryan, and you're right, man. They are heads and shoulders above everybody else right now. But that doesn't mean that the gap can't be closed.
Speaking of a team that's playing well and improving, and we don't talk about a lot, Coach Riker and his squad with the sweep over Page in a district matchup. Abbott Crofamel. Yes.
Very impressive, Coach.
10 kills, 9 digs. Grayson Campbell and Haley Riley, 7 kills each. Quinn Johnston, 18 digs, 5 aces, and she hit a couple 3-pointers there as well. But great win for Coach Riker and his squad. Tennyson Gorman for Page, 6 kills. Mazzy Bushman, 4. So Summit with a good start, and Franklin continuing to play well.
Yes, Franklin's moved to 4-1. They have 3. They went up and took care of. They put the smack down on CPA from what I heard. Went up and took care of Riverdale as well. But yeah, she's really. That's what we were talking. And then you talk about Summit. There was a time when Page really handled Summit pretty easily. You know, Coach Riker's. I think more and more of those young ladies are playing club now. Just like the wrestling program. You know, you have to. You can't. Volleyball is not a sport where you can just show up and play during volleyball season, and you can tell Summit's really invested in that. Program's getting better. There's no easy wins anymore in volleyball.
Not in WCS.
No.
Fairview, 3-0 win over Stewart County. Gabby Curtis, 7 kills, 6 aces. Marley Baker, 6 kills. Elise McKinney, 6 aces, 9 assists. Volleyball getting going here. Soccer girls, Franklin with a big 2-1 win over Summit. And to me, this might be the biggest score of the week any sport.
Yes.
Nolensville, not only, I'm not surprised they beat Brentwood, but you don't beat Brentwood 4-1 and Maddie Podolsky all 4 goals in the first half. Coach Shelton's got himself a player and a squad.
I'm going to throw a little nugget that you're going to love. I was talking to the station camp head soccer coach, Jeremy Cook, a.k.a. the Cookie Monster. Good friend of yours.
Absolutely.
He said, now he's got a few state championships under his belt. He knows how to coach, correct?
Correct.
He said she's the best player he's seen, and he doesn't know how long. Podolsky.
Wow.
That's a big statement.
That's a big. Well, you go back and look. She wins the Wilco as a freshman.
Yeah.
Who does that? The last player I remember doing that was a young man by the name of Robert Hassel.
He turned out okay.
He's doing okay.
I always like to go to basketball analogies with you. Is 4 goals by halftime against Brentwood, is that like scoring 30 points in the first half?
I was going to say 30.
I mean, Coach, how does that even happen? She probably didn't even touch the ball but 6, 8 times.
I mean, so you talked about, I mean, because I know what kind of strategy you pull off. You were talking last year with the Wades, how you're going to load everybody up on one guy. Or you talk about that in basketball when the same guy scores. Yeah. What do you do with Podolsky? Put like half the team on her?
Boxing one.
Face guard.
Yeah.
It's a big field, though. You can get loose.
Well, our man Billy Whittemore, he asked Cook that. He said, what do you do, man? Like, he goes, do you do like a boxing one or something? He goes, you can't really do that in soccer, but.
Coach Whittemore, come on. Stick with football.
He was a great soccer player.
Oh, he was?
I think he was All-State.
And I did not know that.
Yeah.
Obviously, did it all on skill if he asked a question that.
Correct.
That the coach had to say.
He didn't play for Purcell. Schrock, Coach Schrock, he played for him. Yeah. Yeah, got to be one of a kind. I mean, All-State quarterback, Mr. Football, and I think he was All-State soccer earlier in the year, but he was really good, yeah. He and Cook played AAU together. So
wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, it was a neat conversation.
No idea.
Until he threw that boxing one thing out there.
We've had some soccer boat races before, but Fairview, they scored 10 goals last week. They scored 9 against Creekwood, 9-3. Cameron Hunnell doing kind of like the Podolsky, 5 goals. Lillianne McElroy and Emily Quaint with 2 goals each. Fairview is rolling.
Cameron Hunnell, the TWRA reached out. We're happy to announce that you did receive your boater's license, but if you're going to keep going that fast down the river, we're going to have to suspend it. That's a jet boat. 4 225s on the back, boat race city. Thanks for playing, Creekwood.
You can't be jet skiing in 6 feet of water.
I mean, geez, Manetti.
Yeah, pretty
wild. Is it 1 word, 2 words? What is it? I know this is boat. I know how many words is boat race.
And you can also count to 5. Unbelievable, it really is. So she's obviously playing well. Fairview playing well. Page, they repeat as the Smoky Mountain Cup champions. Coach Clapp and his squad.
No surprise there.
No, got it rolling. Cross country, we got some of our bigger meets coming up, but I did want to mention this because we didn't mention it last week. Siegel 2 mile under the stars. That was actually on the 20th of August, but we didn't talk about it last week. Lots of great results from WCS, including Brody Chapman, Callahan Fielder on the boys' side, finishing 1st and 2nd. Brentwood had 4 of the top 5 finishers. It's unbelievable. On the girls' side, Rachel Hawes, Lydia Cromwell of Brentwood finished 1 and 2. But I like this too now.
Yep.
Centennial, Larkin Johnson, Reese Ammon finished 3 and 4, which I thought was a great showing there for Centennial.
Yeah, big time. Right, I mean, right behind the 2 that you're going to hear about all year long from Brentwood, yeah. So, I mean, hey, man, everything's on the rise at Centennial, except for baseball. They've already been there. So, but, yeah, that's exciting to see.
Hey, let's talk a little golf before we move on to football. The Brentwood boys and girls defeated Independence, Jacob Purifoy, Troop Wallace, both with 36. They carded 36s, 1 over par. Skylar Calloway with the 44, 9 over on the girls' side to lead them. And then this week's gym. Got a golf gym this week, Tate. The boys and girls teams at Page in the past week against 2 different opponents. The girls against Columbia Central. The boys against Ravenwood. They set team records for scoring. Also, Grant Clark in that Ravenwood match, he set a record in the individual match. So this is going to be hard to believe, especially when it gets to boys. So on the girls' side, they count 2 scores. So they get a win over Columbia Central. They're 1 over. Gabby Diaz shoots an even par round, which is, I mean, that's legit now.
Legit.
Brooke Bennett 1 over.
Legit.
Against Ravenwood, the girls win by 6 shots. Ravenwood. Really good. And the boys, 15-shot winners over Ravenwood. That match took place at the Grove. It's 4 scores. So get this. Grant Clark, 6 under in 9 holes. 6 under, he shot a 30. Tyler Wilson, 1 under, shoots a 35. Laird Williams, even, go. And our boy Chubbs Wild, 1 over. -6 as a team?
That's unbelievable.
We're talking Ravenwood now. And so I feel bad we hadn't really been talking about Paige, but welcome to golf, Paige.
That's really strong. For those new to the show, or for those that maybe need a reminder from last year, in case you're wondering, is that a golf boat race? Yes, it is. But we do not partake in WCS on WCS crime here. Therefore, no boat race awarded. But that's a boat race.
Gosh.
Hey, Jacob Purifoy, my man, dual sport athlete, point guard, plays for the Coach Bond and Coach Crane on the Bruins.
Doubt.
Love that dude, man. Look at that. I think this is right. I know his dad will be okay with it if not. He didn't, at the state tournament, that's how strong they were last year. He didn't even get to play, right?
Couldn't even get out there.
He's shooting a 1 over. That's how good that team, how deep that
They're
team was last year.
They're good. Well, they're good again, and I'm telling you, so I apologize to Paige. We mentioned everybody but Paige, but I'm going to go ahead now and put them back in my preview.
You motivated them.
That's the team. Well, they probably don't watch, but just in case.
Never know.
All right, Tate, let's talk a little.
You got an email, didn't you?
That's true. Let's talk a little football. Game 2, week 2 recaps. We'll start with the WCTV game of the week, what I like to call the original Battle of Franklin. The game was closer than the score in terms of the way it was played, even though Paige sort of dominated when you talk about total yards. It's 28-17 Paige. This game was tied 14 at the half. Colin Hurd hits Boy Smith in the third quarter with a 12-yard touchdown pass to give the Paige the lead. And then I thought the difference was Franklin, rather than matching that touchdown, they get a field goal instead. And then after that, they really didn't produce anything significant offensively. And I thought the depth and the experience of Paige really made a difference late in the game. But once again, Coach Melton and his squad competed very well week 2.
Well, we've talked about it, and now you hear the other coaches talking about it. And Coach Rathbone will tell you, they are definitely getting better. Franklin is definitely getting better. Those sophomores that you've talked about, Brewer Wilson had another strong game, 157 yards and a touchdown against a really, really good Paige team who quite possibly is going back to the 5A state championship. So, yep, they're getting better. It's just they've had a tough first 2 games. But I think all the Admiral faithful, I think Coach Melton and those that are watching it, they can see it. And that's, sometimes it doesn't always show up early on in the record book. But when you can see improvement, he stepped into a team so young, that's all you can do. You can tell this, he hadn't lost them, you know what I'm saying? They're playing hard for him.
No doubt about that.
And I think they went to this game expecting to win.
Well, I picked them to win. I was wrong. It's twice I've picked against Paige.
Coach Bone, man.
I told you I'm not doing it again. I don't care what happens. The rest of the year, I'm picking Paige every time.
Ooh.
I gave away my strategy.
Hey, we still talking about this one?
Yes.
Colin Hurd. Okay, obviously we're big fans, but we're talking about 6A, 5A football here. He's first year as a starting quarterback. 10 for 19, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then 102 rushing yards. It's hard to do as a quarterback.
What about
and a rushing touchdown?
What about his ability on the defensive side?
And he's probably a better defender. Man, he's fun to watch, man. And that left side of that line, check it out, man. He won't do it, so I'll do it. On that left side of the line, you got Ronan O'Connell over there, and then that number 70. That's Coach Rathbone's son, Jake.
Little Bone.
Little Bone, well, but he ain't little.
Only an age.
And he's a freshman, and, man, he's getting after people's tails.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He's going to be good, man.
Hey, did want to mention Cooper Jordan, another sophomore for Franklin. Another sophomore, 80 yards receiving, 89 yards rushing, and a touchdown. And speaking of our man, Colin Hurd, Tate, let's take a look at the WCTV play of the week.
Franklin defender that was standing in the end zone. They had all 11 defenders inside of the box. Hurd scrambling out.
Oh, he's got it.
Oh, goodness.
Yep.
And just like that, Paige scores. Hurd scrambles out, sees some open space, and hits pay dirt. And that is going to put some distance between your home team, Page Patriots, and your Franklin Admirals.
Well, they say when in doubt, give it to the best offensive threat you got. Colin Hurd, that's him.
Great play there. Again, Ronan. Colin, just being the athlete that he is, rolled it out.
Ball player.
Ball player. Would have been a tough throw. Had a guy on that crossing route open, I think. But what I loved is if you'll watch number 22, Brendan Ains and Ronan O'Connell coming out and double teaming that guy. And then that was a great block, especially by a wide receiver and, an athletic lineman getting out there. But those guys got out there, double teamed him. Easy path, almost untouched for our man Colin Hurd. That's tough. And notice they're going to the left side. So I think he's okay with it. My man Ronan, if you'll watch that extra activity after, he's lucky he didn't get a flag. I'm sure Coach Rathbone talked about it. But the guy's getting after people.
Brentwood, 7-10. They fall short at Father Ryan. This one, I'll be honest, surprised me, Tate.
Yep.
Isaac Hayes had a 47-yard field goal to tie the game with under a minute left, partially blocked. Brentwood was down 10-0 with 11 minutes remaining. They fought back as they always do. Grant Nelson, a 65-yard touchdown to Matthew Manning with 5 minutes left. And something that surprised me a little bit, and he had such a great week one, and this happens sometimes. Isaac missed a couple of 45 yards. We act like that's a chip shot.
Right.
I mean, that's tough. But then he also, and this is something I'm sure that Coach Finch would talk about, he had another one partially blocked. So that's two in the game that are partially blocked. And based on the kind of kicker that Hayes is, that doesn't happen. He makes at least one of those.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just head scratcher, And who knows? It could have been protection, could have been snap, could have been maybe he kicked it low. I don't know, But the 45s, man, that tells you everything you need to know about him, that you're expected to make 45-yard field goals. High school kickers are not expected to
Right.
make. A lot of them don't even attempt that, So
Well, there's some teams don't even try the extra point.
correct. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, that's just this one. I'm with you, man. This one, I don't, other than to say it was a head scratcher. I thought, and you make all those field goals. You go 3 for 3 against Blackman. You don't win the Blackman game without all those field goals, and then you would have thought 2, and then you get the win. But I thought Coach Finch's quote was great. We loved him last week. We'll love him this week. That's the game of football. And they're going to need him to win more games down the road, and he will.
He will. No question he will.
So I just hated to see, Matthew Manning, that 65-yard touchdown, the junior wide receiver. He had 150-something receiving yards. You hate to see a performance like that, come up short. But I don't know what the problem was, but there was something there because only one rushing yard as a team.
That was a total shocker to me.
Well, a lot of that is sacks.
Correct.
But still, behind that offensive line, I know they're not happy about that, and I know they'll get that fixed.
Centennial with another impressive win, 42-7 over Lincoln County. Brendan Jones, I'm telling you, this is a young man we're going to talk about a lot this year. 14 for 17 passing, pretty nice efficiency. 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 to Dominic Reed, 1 to Alex Pierce. Kenai Johnson, he had a pretty good night. 4 receptions, 50 yards, and oh, by the way, an interception on defense. A lot of confidence for Centennial going into that game against Independence. It's going to be one of the best games of the week, I think.
Without a doubt. That's going to be, is it the game of the week? I mean, the TV game of the week?
No, not
Do we know yet?
No, not the TV game of the week, but one of the better games in the league.
No
for sure.
question. Hey, this is, God, man. You can't put all the eggs in one basket, but man, what a game for Centennial. If they can, not only do they go to 3-0, 1-0 in the region, this would be a huge step towards.
Is that a preview of your pick?
You're guaranteed. No, I'm just setting it up.
This is a preview of your pick?
Really, what I was going to is that it would be a huge step of, and I know Coach Christie appreciates it, the district athletic director's personal guarantee at Media Day that they were making the playoffs.
I mean, step it up. Let's go.
Hey, I'm all for it.
They're in.
But you know what? And you were talking about Brendan Jones. I love that too, man. He's played a lot of ball, but remember there was a time when he was the quarterback. He was competing his tail off for the
Right.
job. Sometimes he was, and sometimes he wasn't. this kid didn't give up, kept working. And so I think all the experience he has is paying off now, but also I think the ups and downs that he went through, I think those are paying off too. And don't call me Connie Johnson, another stellar performance.
Speaking of stellar, Mays McCoy with a 31-yard touchdown pass to Layden Grant with 1:45 remaining. Fairview gets a 13-7 win at Creekwood. Grant also had a 12-yard rushing touchdown in the second quarter. I'm thinking Grant has become right there with Samson Johnson of Nolensville as a touchdown maker.
Well, in 2022 he is.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, that dude,
Well,
anytime you talk about Fairview and scoring touchdowns, his name comes up.
Yes. Mr. Johnson's been doing it for 4 years, though. But yes, 100%. He gets both of them. And then I'd love to know what it is. I saw where Coach Hughes said that last one, the Mays McCoy pass to Layden Grant was a
Little trickeration.
trickeration. Did you see who he said Coach Jackson got it from? Malzahn.
Who?
So I'm wondering.
Well, don't be confused about this, but you think it's in Malzahn obviously had some experience with
Trickeration?
well, wasn't there a Bobo? There was some kind of something that happened there too, because Bobo was actually the coordinator when we thought was the head coach.
He did. Oh man, Bobo's fingerprints all over. So does that make Mays McCoy a Bobo watch lister?
Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk to Dr. Qualls because he's the expert when it comes to.
No doubt. Next game day, it's getting brought up. I'm telling you, we got a football player and a quarterback.
Oh, athlete.
Yeah.
Hey, WCS goes 2-0 on turf field debuts this past week. Independence 34-0 over Trezevant. Summit 35-0 over Spring Hill. So neither one have given up points on the new turf field. Had to be the turf.
It's got to be the turf. No doubt about it. Coach Stidham, a lot of cool things that came out of there. 34-0 victory, first win on the turf, first game on the turf. Coach Stidham's first win as the Independence Eagles head football coach, the 200th game in
cool.
the history of Independence.
Love it.
And those that don't know him, the Indy people know, we've talked about it. Coach Stidham is a class act. No kidding aside, they could have beat them 100 and I don't know, but he didn't do it. I think those 34 were in the first quarter.
Trey Hartwell, 3 touchdowns. Daniel Morales, 2. Hartwell's were rushing. Morales receiving. Had a little change at quarterback, too.
Peyton Curtin played great at quarterback, tossed both those touchdown passes to Morales. Cody was out again this week, but that's it's pretty neat that you've got depth like that at quarterback. So
expect to see Lockwood in week 3.
Everybody, the Indy Nation is eagerly anticipating that.
You know something else I thought was cool?
And I'm sure Centennial's happy.
I'll tell you something else I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if you saw this, where they did like the first on the turf, the new staff members at Indy, the teachers, they did the little tunnel there like we did when, I'm not dogging this thing they did, but I can remember doing that when, your kid's like 5 after the little soccer game and they run through it. The line.
Oh, I know.
I'm not downgrading.
I just don't know where you're going.
It sounds like I'm downgrading. It just reminded me of that. But I thought that was cool that they were the first on the turf. They're always doing cool stuff.
And we've talked about that, a little foreshadowing. He's got some other things coming too.
He's got some other things coming, which
that
I
might
like.
have something to do with the entrance, or it's exciting. First on the turf, they had the T-shirts. Your boy Coach Wilkins heavily involved in that. Yeah, man, they got it going.
Got it rolling.
Yep.
Got it rolling. Speaking of rolling, Summit 35-0 win over Spring Hill. The defense, now this is not a mistake. They gave up 12 yards, which is only 12 more than they gave up last year in the 1-0 COVID win. They forced 3 turnovers. Cooper Hall and Aiden Bird combined for 5 tackles for loss. Bird also had a scoop and score. Our man Dominic Hollis, 87 yards rushing and a touchdown. Logan Frazier, also a couple of touchdowns rushing.
It's Dominic Hollis' team. Glad to see him step up Austin Harvey, leader, competitor, only going to get better at quarterback. A boat race is what, 35 points? Coach Coleman, first boat race of the year, right on the nose, 35-0. He was down there on the Duck River.
Lots of I mean, we've even missed a couple opportunities throughout the show, but lots of boat races in week 2.
Love boat races.
Nolensville,
Big win.
21-14 win over a really good Giles County team. You know, my favorite part of the win is the 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns that they had to score. That's what good teams do.
Yep.
They're down 14-7. They score a couple touchdowns in the fourth. Senior Kobe Walton hit Chance Fitzgerald for a 20-yard touchdown to tie the game with 9 minutes remaining. And then Walton with another 42-yarder to Dylan Northcutt. That was only 4 minutes later. They hang on for the win. Kobe, another really good game, 264 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 31 rushing. Good win for Coach Derrick and the Knights.
Huge win. It doesn't count, but it counts. They all count. Giles County's a good football team. Might not lose another one the rest of the season. With all the offensive highlights that they had that you just mentioned, I'm more impressed with that defense. They've got some athletes. Kamari Turner, nobody will slow him down. They did. Coach O'Connor does a great job of, they formation you to death, trying to get you out of position and break a big play on you, and that did not happen for the Knights. So Coach Derrick, Paulie D's team played really, really well. The other thing I love is all of Kobe's guys step up. Chance caught one. Dylan caught one, right? Zion Tamaska had the other one. And then remember, I think we talked about it last year, the cool thing is Eric Harper's starting to show up. Well, he's been a secondary-only guy. They've got more depth over there, which allows him to be another playmaker on the offense. Got a lot of weapons.
And don't forget, we still have Sampson.
Oh, yeah, Mr. TD. Mr. TD didn't even have to do his thing.
My
guess is that they said he's not going to beat us.
I'm really liking Nolo on offense. I'm stepping out again.
That pays.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we already know you're not picking them.
See if you remember that. Hey, speaking of getting the weekend started early and jumping in probably a pontoon, I'm guessing. 56-3, Ravenwood over BGA. Here's one for you, because I don't think I've ever seen this before. They led 14-0 before the offense played a snap. Ben Hubbard, he blocks a punt. Caleb Erickson picks it up and scores. They get another stop on BGA. They punt the ball to Ben Hubbard, 66-yard touchdown, 14-0. From that point on, it was total domination. Carter and Colton Pace, both with great games.
Ben Hubbard is a sophomore, by the way. Big-time playmaker. It was really not – it was really worse than the 56-3.
It was, another example where they could have scored 100 points.
Yes. And Carter Pace, 122 yards, 3 touchdowns. Colton Pace got a Chris Parson touchdown. Parson really didn't have to do much. And you know, you only held him to 3 points like that. Defense played lights out as well. Coach Hester's more of a deck boat guy. So it was kind of a deck boat. Boat race. Either way, he likes
just a leisurely ride.
Yeah, he likes to have his family out there. And either way, he likes boat racing the wild kittens on a Thursday night.
It was more like kitty cats that night because it was unbelievable. Tate,
2 years, man. 2 years.
Your favorite part of the show.
Woo!
Pick'ems. But you're starting a little fast. I don't want you to burn yourself out. So last week you were 7-1. The fans were also 7-1. Dr. Qualls and myself, we were both 6-2. Here are your standings. The fans and I are 12-4. We're just kind of getting into this thing. Dr. Qualls, 13-3. And look, I made him pick earlier.
He is copy and pasting.
And then, Tate, you're 14-2. So you've got a 1-game lead over Dr. Qualls, 2-game lead over the fans, and over the fans and me. Fans, keep voting, by the way. WCS CO Athletics to place your votes. Let's start off with the WCTV game of the week this week. We've got Brentwood at Summit. Brentwood at Summit. What say you, Mr. Mathews?
Well, my one loss last year was the Bruins. Last week was the Bruins. But I still got faith in this team. I think they're number 2 in the region. Therefore, that means to be number 2 in the region, they're going to have to beat the Summit Spartans. Let the text messages start flying. I'm going with the Bruins.
You know what? I'm going to go with Brentwood too. But I think this is a good game. I really do. I think Summit's a little better than everybody thinks they are, even though they're young. And we know they're going to get better later. They might be better quicker than we thought. And then I think the difference is Brentwood comes in an angry bear.
They need to be.
And I think because of that, they're going to be big-time motivated.
Yes.
Not that both, come on, if you're not motivated to play a 1 in 10
But now
event,
Coach
right?
Coleman's going to give them the nobody believes in us.
Of course he
it's
is.
the world against us.
Of course he is.
And he's good at that. He'll have them ready. Sure you don't want to change?
I'm going Brentwood.
Okay, I am too.
All right, my pick, Centennial versus Indy. Kind of like you said, although this one kind of makes me nervous in terms of the pick. But I have said Indy is going to finish second in the region. You're not going to finish second if you don't win this game. I'm going with Independence to defeat Centennial in a barn burner. Less than 5 is the margin.
Oh, I like it. So you're saying combined points were over 60? You willing to go that high?
What?
Combined points over 60 points?
What, Centennial Indy?
Yeah.
No.
No, not that big.
I think it's a lower scoring game than that.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I just meant close, but the margin's going to be 5 or less.
I think this is, I'm with you. I'm going Independence. Because I think their 1-1 record's a little misleading. And we get everybody back this week. Trey Hartwell is going to be a load to bring down. He's getting better every week. He's running hard. But I think this is a very high-scoring game. But I'm going with – by the way, did you notice they have Indy on the – I guess they're Indy now because it's on the jerseys.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm going with Indy.
Fairview, Stewart County. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this one and waste the viewers' time. Tate, who you got?
Grant and McCoy are eating popcorn in the third quarter.
Well, now
literally eating popcorn.
Now that it's 30-0, they're definitely.
Shoulder pads off, eating popcorn, talking to Mr. Butler about pep rally earlier in the day.
I agree, Fairview. Franklin, Ravenwood. Again, Franklin's better. It's a home game for Franklin. Their crowd will show out as they always do. Ravenwood's got too much. I'm going Ravenwood.
Ravenwood.
Speaking of boat race.
Boat race.
Page at Spring Hill, Tate. Who you got?
This is a boat race before, it could be in the first quarter.
And the final boat race of the week.
It's another boat race.
Nolensville, Lincoln County. We're both going Nolo, right?
There used to be a time where they'd say, well, now, they got to come down to the pit this week. Yeah. They're coming to the pit. They're going home in a boat.
So we're both going to –
There's going to be no separation.
We've got the separate – no.
Well, and I'm pretty sure, fans might go with some – I don't know. I think there's a good chance we're all going to have all the same picks this week.
I think we might too. There's a couple games I'm telling you tricky.
Qualls might pick Stewart County over Fairview to shake it up a little bit.
Maybe I'll tell him that's who we picked when I ask him to make his picks and see if he.
Then we'll know.
Tate, always great to see you. It's exciting. I feel like we're right in the teeth of fall sports right now.
You have plenty of great games to go to, 2 really, really good ones. No excuse not to get out there and see one. Make sure you're checking out your volleyball teams and your soccer teams and your cross-country teams during the week, man. They all appreciate it.
Golf teams too.
Golf too.
Get you a little exercise, walk with the golfers.
Just, there's a little more etiquette that goes into that.
Right.
Yes, great exercise. Kind of like when me, you, and Pulliam were riding on the back of that Coach Ladd's cart. I don't know that was in the – that's another story.
I don't know if we followed safety protocol on that one.
I'm somewhere that didn't go over well.
All right, Tate. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, man. You too.
And thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.